ketika kita mau merasa tidak, besok kan
Ano yung gawin? Wala? Nanti dari orang itu yang kita maaf. Betul. Kani karmi. Hello. 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 Testing. শুনিছানে? শুনা নাই। হেল্ল'। 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 হেল্ল'।
Hello. 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 Testing. Hello. Hello.
Hello. Virender, may I start? Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Good
Voice question,
afternoon,
right?
everyone. শুনিছো, sir.
ঠিক আছে।
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a very pleasure moment for us to have a special lecture on border disputes in Northeast India, issues and challenges. First of all, respected Principal Sir Dr. Uttam Kumar Borua of our college, Kaliabor College. Respected our guest speaker, Dr. Dibojyoti Datta, Associate Professor, Dibrugarh University. Respected faculty members of the different colleges. And we, the Department of Political Science, have decided to organize a special lecture on border disputes in Northeast India, issues and challenges. We have discussed to organize such kind of very vital issues which is very relevant in Northeast India, as well as very vital or significant issue, not only this Northeast India as a whole, this is a very international. We have discussed to organize such kind of seminar, or you can say we have a special lecture on this issue. That's why we have discussed with this Associate Professor Dr. Dept to have a special lecture on this topic. And it's a very happy moment for us. He has permitted us to deliver a lecture on this issue. We know Dr. Dept is a very young senior associate professor in the Department of Political Science, Dibrugarh University. He is a very dynamic and young associate professor. He has a very, you can say, the dynamic person. He has lots of books, chapters in the edited book, journals, articles. He has already been written in different journals. And he's always worked for the development of the society also. So we, the Department of Political Science, are very happy to accept our request to at least deliver the lecture on this issue. So before starting this the program, I request our Honorable Principal Sir to inaugurate this session. I hand over my microphone to our Honorable Principal Sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my privilege to welcome Dr. Dept, Associate Professor, Department of Political Science, Dibrugarh University. I also welcome all the faculties and participants who made it very much convenient to join this webinar organized by Department of Political Science, Kaliabor College. As we know, the topic is a very much contemporary one, and we have seen recently the disputes between countries, even between states within the countries, have reached into an alarming state. And it has become a matter of great concern for all. I believe today's session, to be enlightened by Dr. Dept, will enrich our understanding as to how to resolve this dispute amicably. I once again welcome you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. I request Dr. Dept sir to continue this session.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dilip. And thank you so much, Kaliabor College family, to come up with this particular suggestion to deliver a lecture on border disputes in Northeast India. So a few days back, Dilip called me up and asked us some of my time to deliver a lecture on a particular theme. So although he initially didn't mention about the theme, but because of the fact that we discussed many aspects relating to issues which are of concerns to the Northeasterners, so we finally decided that we should have a discussion on border disputes, because it would be of immense help to the students community, as well as the teachers, faculty as well, to have some insights onto the issues that we have been confronting with. So therefore, I readily accepted the proposal of Kaliabor College, and I decided to deliver a speech on this particular topic. So this is not something a very easy theme to deliver it on, because the disputes and the disputes related to borders, these are very complex, very delicate matters. So, individual comments, for that matter, comments on this particular aspect, right, from any particular state or body or community, it becomes all the more difficult because of the fact that there are so much of complexity, so much of issues involved, right, pertaining to borders. Because the way that we have been looking at border, it has transcended. It has been it has definitely passed through different layers, different stages. The way that we see borders today is not that we have been looking at borders way back in 1950s or 1960s. Today, border encompasses many newer insights. Nowadays, when we refer to the new paradigms of border, we definitely include concerns relating to environment, ethnicity, so on and so forth, right? So ultimately, one thing is quite clear, that border divides people. Borders are something that is a line drawn that disconnects us. So this is the very traditional mode of understanding border. But today we have seen, because of the advancements that we had in the technological front, or for that matter in other affairs, so we have marched ahead, and it is quite it has become quite problematic for us to have consensus on how to resolve border disputes. So if you just scan through the pages of the newspapers, even today in the morning Assam Tribune, there was a report that government of Assam is coming up with newer proposals to have resolution with the northeastern states, so that they can resolve the border issues, right? So if you just look at the data, that you would see that in India, whatever the border disputes that we have today, most of the border disputes prevail in the northeastern region of the country. So this speaks something, this speaks volume. It talks about the very significance and the importance of resolution, of coming up with certain resolutions, so that we come, we keep at bay our differences, and we try to resolve them, so that we can live peacefully, we can live in a very, very harmonious society. But if we just look at the history, then we see that there are certain legacies, there are certain issues in the past that actually, in a way, made us to have, drawn our boundaries in a very, very, difficult way, different way. So I would be, in my discussion, I'll be focusing on different types and different, the different, patterns of border disputes that we have. Basically, Assam's dispute with 4 northeastern states: Assam Nagaland border dispute, Assam Arunachal border dispute, Assam Meghalaya border dispute, and Assam Mizoram border dispute. So these are 4 borders, these states that we share our boundaries with, we have issues. Now, how to actually look at this particular border? So border, if you have Birender, can I share the screen so that it becomes quite easy for the audience to have some glimpse of it?
Yes.
I'm sharing the screen. Yeah, can you see it?
Yes, we are getting.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yes, we are getting the slide.
Yeah. So this is Assam. It was the yellow color. The first one is undivided Assam in 1950. That was a political map of Assam drawn in 1950. It is actualized, and the second map that you could see is Assam in 2023. So it is quite, therefore, obvious that the states that have been carved out from Assam, right, definitely would have some or the other definitely would have some disputes, right? So the states that have been demarcated from Assam, in 1970s and 1980s, right? So we have disputes with them, right? So if they take, for example, if we have if we just look at the disputes with Assam Mizoram border, then we would see that it is the history, right? It is, we have to go to the colonial times, we have to look at the colonial legacies, because way back in 1875, right, there was an inner line system developed by the British, and in 1933 there was a notification by the British, right? So that actually, in a way, that were the official sources through which we tried to draw border boundaries with Mizoram and Assam when Mizoram was carved out, right, from Assam. So that same case happened to Assam as well, Assam Meghalaya borders as well. So there was a notification way back in 1935, right? So Assam and Meghalaya, Assam says that this is something that we have to accept. Meghalaya rejects that particular claim. Nagaland is a very tricky case, right? So I'll discuss in detail why Nagaland is a tricky case, and why it has become all the more problem to have solutions to Assam Nagaland border disputes, right? And we definitely have issues with Assam and Arunachal Pradesh as well. But few days back there was a report, and an MOU was signed between Assam and Arunachal Pradesh, and even with Meghalaya as well. So the government of Assam is presently trying the best to resolve those particular long-standing disputes, because government of the day in all the states, they have realized that if we have border disputes, then ultimately it would be quite problematic for us to march ahead, right, with our developmental journey. So we have to try our best so that we could reach to some conclusions as to how we can resolve these particular issues, right? So I will discuss all these particular facts. If you just look at the statistics, starting from the issues that have started way back in 1960s, in the late 1960s till today, right? There are many people, they have, they were killed. Many people have been killed. Many people have become injured, right? Many people have been displaced over a period of time, right? Forests have been grabbed by, both the, parties who are at, conflicts, right? So therefore, it has become quite problematic. And let me tell you one thing: history is something that we need to actually give attention to, because every time the parties who are at the conflict, so they only refer to the history, and we know that history means it is the history that has been done, that has been written during the colonial period, and the Britishers, based because of their for their own benefits, they have come up with their own regulations, notifications, right, orders, covenants, so on and so forth. So therefore, in order to suit their interest only, the Britishers have come up with notifications. And if we today, sitting in 2023, just align ourselves with those particular notifications to draw the boundaries, it would definitely yield in problems. And this is the case, therefore we are not able to solve the issues, right, in most of the boundaries that we have disputes with. Take for example Assam Nagaland border. So Nagaland claim that they have control and command, right, over the forests areas of the erstwhile Nagaon district of Assam, right? And Nagaon district, take for example, even Kaliabor these days. So that particular block and that particular area, it also belong to Nagaon district. And Nagaland claim that whatever the border area, forests, right, part of Golaghat district, as well as Sibsagar district, Jorhat district, and in Nagaon district. So these particular area belong to Nagaland. So I was a party to a consultation committee formed by Golaghat district administration to see to certain situations that have arisen out of the border clashes. So we know that border clashes in Nagaland is quite difficult to actually phenomenon, and it is definitely creating many issues. So there was a case, I think all of you know, that in 1978 government of Assam approached the Supreme Court of India to resolve the particular issue pertaining to border disputes with Nagaland, because Nagaland has been claiming that the plot of land that Assam claim is their own, and therefore there were clashes, right, with the communities. So therefore, there was a case that was the original suit that was filed by the government of Assam in the Supreme Court of India. So Supreme Court of India, quite often they come up with certain suggestions. They suggest that these are classes, these are disputes that may be resolved amicably. Negotiations may be one, right, very suitable to. But this has not been happening. So the district administration of Balaghat, they have formed a committee to see to the nitty-gritty of this particular case that was there in the Supreme Court of India. So we were asked to see, these are quite confidential. I should not, it should be off the record anyways. So I am just actually explaining things to you so that you could only gather some information out of it. So this should not be therefore treated as like that. So this is off the record things. But anyways, for academic purpose, we definitely could discuss. So what happens is that we have said the documents, the evidence, the counter evidence, and that we realize that this is not something, this is not anyone's cup of tea to actually resolve such issues which have sacred history, right? And if Assam government claims that this is their region, this is their plot of land, and then Nagaland come up with their counter allegations, and they say that they also come up with evidence that it is they have been claiming that particular plot of land from centuries, right? So therefore, these are very, very contested issues. Borders are not that something that we we think that could be resolved easily. Yes, absolutely, it is a very difficult issue. But in a federal setting like India, in a federal setting like a democratic country like India, we definitely have, right? We definitely could see the light. We definitely could think of resolving them, right? So therefore, it becomes all the more necessary today to see how could we actually in a way address the border disputes, right? So I'll definitely focus on these particular issues a little later, but let us focus on Assam Meghalaya border disputes. So these are information only, and I'll be explaining its complexities later. So for your understanding, I'm just explaining to you the past, the events that have happened, and why we have border disputes with all these particular states. And today, now let us focus on Assam Meghalaya border dispute. So we all know that Meghalaya was granted autonomy in the year 1970, and after 2 years, right, in 1972, it attained the statehood, right? So there is a committee constituted to look into the boundary disputes, boundary demarcation, how to actually have that particular boundary lines that definitely needs to be drawn to demarcate Assam and Meghalaya. So there is a committee. It was a Bordoloi committee, as Gopinath Bordoloi, then he was known as the Prime Minister of Assam. So then Chief Minister, anyways. So he was the person. Then he was a Chief Minister of Assam, independent Assam, and Gopinath Bordoloi led a committee, and that particular committee recommended something. And that particular recommendations by the Gopinath Bordoloi committee was incorporated in the Assam Reorganization, Assam Reorganization Act of 1969, right? So most of the recommendations forwarded by the committee constituted by Gopinath Bordoloi have been incorporated in that particular committee. And in that particular recommendation, what happened is that, right, areas like East Jaintia Hills, Rivoi, West Khasi Hill districts, Garo Hills of Meghalaya were transferred to Karbi Anglong. And Kamrup, nowadays Kamrup Metro, Gwalpara and Kamrup districts of Assam. So they have been claiming that no, how come areas which are quite contiguous to Meghalaya, because Rivoi district, parts of West Khasi Hills districts, right? They have been claiming, and Khasi community, Garo people live there. So how come you align or you can give it those particular places to Karbi Anglong districts and Kamrup districts of Assam. So this is not something that we are going to accept. And although they have attained statehood, but they have rejected this particular claim that although it is there in the Assam this particular reorganization right act, but we are not going to endorse them, we are not going to accept it. And therefore what happened is that these particular contestations have been happening right quite occasionally since that particular point in time. So therefore we have issues with Meghalaya in almost 12 stresses right these days, and these particular areas are Upper Tarabari, Gajong Reserve Forest, Hahim, Langpi, Borduar, Bokalpara, Nongwa, and these particular areas, Khanapara, Pilinkata area. All right, we all know why. This a few days back only, some police personnel and some police personnel were killed right during classes. So these are happening, and these are happening at a very rapid, quite occasionally, and it explains the very complexity of the border, right? And therefore, it becomes all the more necessary to have resolutions of all these particular issues. And it was quite right time to look into the solutions. And Assam and Meghalaya government definitely had some some solutions to it, and definitely they have drawn some memorandum of understandings. And this is something a very good sign. And I'll discuss what are them actually, right? So these are some photographs only. So yes. But yes, it is quite true that although we have this particular MOU, but TNC, they say that they are not going to endorse the Assam Meghalaya border resolution memorandum of understanding, right? That particular agreement they're not going to endorse, and they are definitely politics, because no one wishes to give an inch of a particular plot of land to another state or another country, right? Second is Assam Nagaland, Assam Nagaland border dispute. This is quite tricky, and as I have already noted, that I find myself right, at many instances at loss to connect the problems that people have been confronting with, right? Why? Because you see, Nagaland have been claiming that these are the most of the reserve forests are there. They have the command over it. Assam, on the other hand, say that no, this is not the case. And now things are becoming quite problematic because of the fact that when the Forest Rights Act of 2006 came up, so it became this particular area, all these particular forest areas are reserved forests. So reserved forests, although this is forest area is altogether controlled and and managed by some other entities, right? So definitely, if it is in the border area, it becomes all the more problem, right? So therefore, what is happening in this particular area is this: although officially most of this particular area are forested area, but actually these are not forested area. People have definitely have domiciled on this particular thing. So you see, in 2017, for that matter, in 2020 even. So there are classes. So if you just look at the classes, then you would see that there are personnel, some citizens from Assam. So they have been claiming that these are their land. They have been settling. They have settled there, and it is the state government of Assam asked them to settle there. They have they have settled there with due permission from the government of Assam. So apparently it would look to us a bit absurd to accept. But if you just look back to the history and try to see, and this is quite a reality. Take, for example, in 1970s and 80s, when there were certain, some enforcements happened within this particular border, Assam government at that particular point in time, they realized that why not to use a human shield? Why not to use a human shield? How? Let us allow persons and to settle in this particular area. Those persons who have been having issues with flood or and other issues, erosion issues. So all those persons were they were allocated a lot of lands there. They were asked, not officially, but they are asked to given have lands there. And because of this particular policy of the government of 1970s and 80s, so people definitely have settled there. but they were not given land pattas as of now. Right. So today you see we are talking about land issues, land rights, land patta, Basundhara 2.0, 1.0. But the persons who are settling, who are who are living in the borders of Assam Meghalaya border, right? They do not have land pattas. They do not have official document of claiming their plot of land. Why? Because of particular these issues. Because of the fact that these are reserve forest, these are forested areas. So since these are forested areas, right, land pattas, individual land pattas could not be given. And when you do not have an identity, because land is your identity, when you do not have an identity, it becomes all the more problematic. Few days back, there was Assam Arunachal agreement. So even in if you have been to Dirak, Arunachal Pradesh through Dirak Gate, there is a place called Mahadevpur. At Mahadevpur, there were persons who were mostly they were Sunwal Kasaris, right? Moran, Motoks, right? They belong to the ethnic. They have affinity with the ethnic communities of Assam. But because of problems, they were not given land rights, or for that matter, any Aadhaar card, or they are not having this particular PRC, right? Residential certificate, PRC, permanent residence certificate. So they are not given them. So since they are not offered with this particular piece of paper or document, so it become all the more problem for them to claim that they are citizen of this particular country, although they are citizens, but they are being denied of this particular rights. So since we have this particular issues, and this particular issue needs to be resolved, right? So again, come back to Assam Nagaland border dispute. So if you just look at the issues, then we see that it is not something that we could explain in words, because what happens if we just look at the history, then we see so much of insurgent movements, so much of insurgent activities that had happened, right? So if you just look back to the history and see when 1963, when Nagaland Nagaland was carved out from Assam, right? So it was, we have to look at it that Nagaland was never a part of the British India. So they have again, way back in 1947, they stated that we are not going to accept this, right? So therefore, because of the history, because of certain issues, right? So they definitely have some other claim. Today, therefore, you see, a few days back, NSC and IM, Isaac, and they have, this particular government of India have had one pact to bring them to the negotiation table, right? And we know about the nitty-gritty of Nagalim, Greater Nagalim, right? So these issues are there because many states, many insurgent groups, they are claiming that this particular plot of land belongs to them. This particular community reside there, and it should be given to them. Right to self-determination is their own right, and no one should, in a question, one's right to self-determination, right? And tribal community is no exception, because if Naga community, they have been living with their own traditions for centuries, because customary laws, customary practices, customary traditions are quite sacrosanct to them, and if anything happens to their customary practices, it would definitely be a blow to their identity, right? That has been told. And therefore, if we just look at the history, then we see, right, then Naga National Council was there. They have demanded certain pockets, right? Certain areas that have been, controlled by Assam, right? So there was PACs, there was this particular, if you just look at in the screen, there was a memorandum submitted to the government of India by Naga People's Convention, NPC, and where they have quite, specifically mentioned about the area borders, right? Specifically, clause number 12 and clause number 13 in the 16-point agenda, they have mentioned about that, right? So Nagaland is, managing the borders with Nagaland is quite problematic, and because if you just look at it, as per this record, as of now, Nagaland claims that they should be given 12,488 square kilometer of Assam's territory, right, comprising of 10 reserve forests. So this is a huge area that Nagaland has been claiming, right? And Assam says that no, why should we? Why should we are not going to give it to you because you were part of us for a long period of time, and you were being carved out, and we now cannot go back to the history, the notifications of 1875, 1925, 33, and we are not going to actually in a way divide ourselves based on those colonial past. So we are not going to do that. So Assam has been saying like that, and but Nagaland is saying that no, this is not the case because Nagaur district it was a part of the transfer, right? That has been given as per the notification 1933 to the Nagaland, right? So therefore, Naga areas, right? So therefore, they say that it has to be right, accepted, but Assam says no. So these are certain issues, right? I'm skipping these particular points. If required, be giving you this thing because of paucity of time. We are not going to discuss it. These are certain history. We can skip them, right? Okay. So much of committees, commissions have been constituted. There was Sundaram committee. There was Sastri commission, right? So these committees definitely come up with solutions, but some or the other, if Nagaland government accepts sometimes, Assam government rejects sometimes. So committees, recommendations are not being accepted by any state governments, right? So therefore, although there were committees, commissions being set up, but the recommendations, whatever that have been forwarded, but these are not been considered, right? We definitely have border issues with Mizoram, right? It's the same of that particular the history. It is every time when we try to look at the border disputes in that is prevalent in Assam and Assam, Nagaland, Assam, Meghalaya, Assam, Mizoram, right? Assam, Tripura, whatever. So ultimately, it is the history. It is the sacred history, right? That we have to align ourselves with, right? So Mizoram. We all know that it was act of the right in 1887 it was carved out from Assam. Assam and Mizoram shares almost 164 square kilometer long border, which was being defined in the Northeastern Areas Reorganization Act of 1971, right? And it is the notification which I have referred to, the notification of 1933, right? So they say that this particular notification should be given, right? Sacrosanct. It has to be accepted as valid. But Assam government and Mizoram government definitely have issues with that. So therefore, major clashes have occurred. Starting since 2006 up till 2021. In 21 we see what happened that some police personnel were killed with border classes, right? So therefore what happened, Assam government even started thinking of economic blockade, right? So these are not something that we should give attention to, right? In a state, in a country, we feel that through negotiations, through discussions, through deliberation, we definitely try to see resolutions, right? So these are again histories. So I am skipping those particular history again, right? So these are history. And the same thing is happening with Assam, Arunachal Pradesh. I'm hurriedly going through the history so that I could come to the resolutions, right? The same case with Assam and Arunachal Pradesh border disputes, right? So it is happening starting from the inception of Arunachal Pradesh, right? There is a system. So as it is the case with Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh says that whatever the plot of land they have been claiming that belongs to them. So they say, so there are certain traditions, there are certain legacies that we have with the Ahom rulers, or tribal chieftains, right? So there is a system called posa. That history person would be in a position to explain what is the meaning of posa. Posa is something sort of a money, or some money given to the persons of the tribal leaders, right, belonging to Arunachal Pradesh, Arunachal at that particular time, or for that matter, the hills. So, so that you don't come and don't try to destabilize our peace, brotherhood, so on and so forth, right? Ultimately, take it, and if these Ahom rulers used to give offered some monetary benefits to these particular tribal chieftains. So this is known as posa, and this is quite crucial, because they say that because of the fact that we have this particular posa system, why not to claim that this particular plot of land belongs to us? So every time we see that connecting with some evidence that we had in the past, most of the northeastern states, right, try to actually establish their dominance and control over a particular plot of land and say that it belongs to them. And therefore, history is the problem. Therefore, I have been saying time and again, right? Colonial legacy is the problem, right? So therefore, we have to see, from different vantage points, and we have to see we have to think out of the box, solutions, in order to keep at bay the historical narratives, so that we could definitely come up with certain solutions, right? There have been efforts. We have discussed that there have been efforts since 1979 till date, right, to resolve the Assam Arunachal border disputes, but it has not been resolved till date. Okay, anyways. Now let us come to the original discussion, right? How to move it, how to address, how to solve these long-standing issues. Are we in a position to in a way settle them? My answer to this particular question is yes, to a great deal, but there are certain prerequisites to it. Certain prerequisites, because it would require willingness from all the parties involved to come to the negotiation table, right? Because to me, negotiation is the only solution. Negotiation is the only solution to come up with certain solutions. Why? Because you see, in a federal polity like us, right? Definitely we have the Indian government. Definitely Indian government could come up with, because in our constitution there was the provision for, right, constitution of the interstate council. So if interstate councils are constituted, so through interstate council, because this is a constitutional provision, if it is constituted, whatever the recommendations, whatever the solutions that it comes up with, right, it offers, so it becomes quite constitutionally valid thing. So it has to be accepted. It has not been used in order to resolve this particular issue of border disputes in Northeast India, right? Interstate councils haven't been formed, right, as of now, and it could definitely have been a very plausible tool. It would definitely have been a very significant tool, right, to redress it. But because of the political compulsions, because of political situations, because of ethnic issues that we have, ethnic conflicts, because of insurgency issues that we have been having since in our independence, so it is not that easy to resolve these particular boundary disputes, right? So if you just look at Assam, for that matter, in Manipur, Nagaland, right? So Armed Forces Special Power Acts were in vogue for a long period of time. Only recently, because of many political compulsions, because of many political calculations, right? APSA has been, right, shown the door. But otherwise, it stayed for a long period of time, and we know what happened with APSA. It actually empowered police personnel to shoot at sight. So where we have been talking about human rights, but human rights, right, is not that something important, right, when it comes to the addressing the question of insurgency. So therefore, India in Northeast, had this particular sacred history, sacred past, where we have disputes, we have issues, At most of the point, most of the time, we have issues with ethnicity. So we definitely have in a ways lived with right lived with unity, because we definitely have shared our values with other communities, but we definitely have engaged with some heinous acts in history that had happened. We engaged in ethnic conflicts, and all these particular conflicts, right, happen because of many reasons. One important reason definitely is land. One important reason is definitely supremacy. One important reason is definitely, right, ownership, right? So these are certain issues that in a way, right, compounded matters, right, and it ultimately resulted in, right, disputes, and which are even could also be visible in the border disputes as well, right? So therefore it is not something easy, right, to us maintain status quo. So modus vivendi is a term that is used in legal terms, which is equated with the term maintaining status quo. We have been having status quos for a long period of time, right? Status quos have been maintained, or for that matter, modus vivendi have been followed, right? But these are not going to give, these are not going to wield, right, long-standing, enduring peace, right, enduring, result. Why? Because these are quite temporary in nature. Now, people may say that the government of the day say that we have started the ceasefire. We have, really relaxed the, economic blockade, right? Because most of the trade routes are happening through Assam, and Assam definitely is in a very advantageous position to control, right? But these are very, very temporary sort of situations. So we definitely require some constitutionally valid, tool, or some accepted boundary line, so that we do not have such issues recur in the future. One important point, we all know that in the Constitution of India, so we all know that our Constitution, what is that? Constitution of India talks about what? Uh, as I have already noted about the 263 interstate council, it is not happening. Article 2 and 3 of the Constitution of India. If you look at the Article 2 and 3 of the Constitution of India, then you see that using the Article 2 and Article 3, Parliament can definitely address or resolve border disputes, right? So through a simple majority, and of course this is quite true that the persons, it has to be accepted in almost all the, right, states at their party to this particular places, and at many instances parliament may reject or may approve, or they consider, right, some claims of these particular state legislative assemblies opinions, but it is the parliament, they directly and they can definitely in a way address it. Article 2 and Article 3 I am referring. So, but this has not been done, right? And it could definitely be a plausible tool, right? So now situation has changed over a period of time, and this is a very, very in a congenial atmosphere to actually in a way redress this particular issue. We have seen that government of Assam is quite proactive to address or try to resolve this particular issue, and therefore they have been having agreements, pacts, MOUs, right, with neighboring states. So this is definitely a very welcome step, and we definitely think that in due course of the time, whatever the border issues that we have with other states, so it would definitely going to be resolved. And I see there is a politics even. So because this is again off the record thing, why this hurry? The government of Assam is trying their best to actually in a way settle or resolve the border disputes with almost all the states. Few days back, there was a pact signed in presence of the Honorable Home Minister of India, and we had seen in Namsai there was a regional regional committees were formed. Namsai Pact was held with Assam and Arunachal government, right? So this is a very, very important and very, very crucial moment for the state of Assam as well, because Assam is also passing through a very critical period. Why? Because Assam is trying to delimit, or going for delimitation exercise, and in delimitation exercise, right, you definitely have to have settlements with these particular areas as well, right? So if there are certain pockets which become quite unresolved, it would definitely going to give some issues or problems. It will definitely get certain issues and problems in the future as well. So because of the fact that this particular political compulsion that we are moving ahead with delimitation processes, so it is definitely giving some boost or some force, so that let us resolve this particular issue for good, so that we can live freely, live peacefully, right? So this may be one particular plausible reason why Assam government is forcing, or they are trying their best to resolve. But whatever that may be the reason, the thing is this, that we are striving for resolution. We are trying our best to come up with certain resolutions at the borders, is something a very, very good initiative and good step. So I must have to endorse it. But yes, we definitely have resolutions. We definitely could resolve it. Now, as per the Home Ministry data, insurgency have almost it is minimized to a great extent. Whatever the insurgent groups that we have in the northeastern states, the Indian government and respective state governments are at discussion. They are negotiating with them so that they could be taken for taken to the mainstream. They have been they can be their issues could be resolved through negotiations, discussions. So this is a very, very amicable, very good situation, so that we definitely could resolve them, right? So I feel that students as well as common people like us, we should definitely know the nitty-gritty of the border disputes. We should not draw inferences whatever are being reported in the newspapers and other reports, because at many instances we fail to actually realize what is the actual reality. Because take for example, if a community who you feel accustomed to it, right, or we have been a part of it, if they stay at the borders, right, the other side of the border, it definitely become quite problematic for you to actually interact. So that happened in Manipur these days. Take for example, Manipur and Myanmar have border disputes, right? Yes, although it at a not not almost 140 or 45-kilometer area, they have issues. But Manipur government and Manipur, that basically done, not non-governmental organizations and civil society organizations, they are of the opinion that they are, they don't want to settle this particular border. Why? Do you know? It is because of the fact that so much of their people, right, the communities live across borders, so they have connections, they have interactions. So if all of a sudden this border is fenced, ultimately it would create some problem for their interactions. So border divides, but and these particular divisions are not good, right? So therefore we have to look at newer insights or new paradigm of borders, how to actually redraw border, how to reimagine border. We have to reimagine our borders. It should not be looking at only as border as a line, as a territorial category. We should not be looking at it. We should actually look at it from different vantage points, right? So take for example, if environment is the connecting point, if the ethnicity is the connecting point, is the community is the connect, if the culture is the connecting point, right? We should always try our best to in a way look at them and derive or infer that from particular things. So we are nowadays a very multicultural society, right, as we all know it. And therefore in this particular situation, and more specifically in the northeastern states, right, we should not therefore be actually dividing ourselves by some thin territorial lines, right? We should therefore look at the things from a broader perspectives, right? And there definitely have to be compromise, and we definitely have to see if there are certain pragmatic compromises happen, that is good for us, right? So we should not therefore be feel worry that it is only going to get worse, right? So with this, I think I have given a very, very brief account of the things that are happening at the borders, and what are the things that is happening at the negotiation tables. I have given you a very brief account of it. And if you feel that these particular issues require more, right, discussions. Definitely, if in due course of time, if you feel that it requires more discussions, it's required. Definitely, we can discuss. With these few words, and I thank Kaliabor College for inviting me to deliver this particular lecture. So this is, as I have already noted, that this is a very brief, very short account of. It is a narrative that is happening, right? So this is just a narrative. So let us see how things happen, how things goes. We definitely would love to see the border disputes for time to come. It is right addressed. Thank you so much. Over to Dilip.
Thank you, Dr. Sir. Although you are presenting a very brief presentation, but it's a very valuable and thought-provoking. You have raised many issues from historical perspective to recent political situation, because we all know this border issues in Northeast India is very complex. We have to study because it has a lots of the historical complexities there. It has a relations with the society. It has a relations with the space, cultural, economic. You have also mentioned how land is the identity of a particular community. It's a very significant thing for everyone. Land, definitely, right now, whatever the moment is going on in the Northeast India, is a only factor is the ethnic identity. And one of the factors is that ethnic identity, for protection of the ethnic identity, all these communities are also demanding to ensure or to secure their land. So there is a very vital, complex issue. And you have also talked about that there is a urgent need of the holistic approach to meet this issue. And you have in your discussion mentioned negotiation is the only issue for solutions. And from your lecture, you have definitely gathered or enlist our knowledge for complex border issues. I think students will also gain knowledge from your lecture. And if I think if anyone says something or if anyone shares something, please, the dice is open for all. কোনোবাই যদি কিবা ক'ব বিচাৰে, নিজৰ মতামত আগবঢ়াব বিচাৰে, তেওঁলোকে আগবঢ়াব পাৰে বিষয়টোৰ ওপৰত যে কাৰোবাৰ যদি বৰ্ডাৰ ইছ্যুৰ ওপৰত কিবা কুৱেশ্যন আছে বা তেওঁলোকে যদি তেওঁলোকৰ মতামত আগবঢ়াব বিচাৰে, তেওঁলোকে পোনপটীয়াভাৱে বা আমাৰ চাট বক্সত দিব পাৰে।
Yes, I see a question at the sub box. Do you agree that there is strong political will to settle border dispute among the parties? I can't say in exact terms whether it is a strong political will or not, but there is a will. I'm not saying that this is a strong political will, but yes, you could sense that there is a will, right, among the parties involved to settle these particular issues, right? Take for example, when Assam Mizoram border disputes occurred, the Chief Minister of Mizoram at first were a bit hesitant, right? And to have any discussions or dialogues with this. But the moment there was a union in central government, right, it became some party, informal party to it. So there were, right, negotiations started. Right, negotiations started. So at times we see that there were cases even registered against the chief minister of Assam in Mizoram, but those things were settled, right, or even these were addressed. So why I'm saying so, because somewhere or other, right, we have to look at the root of the issues. So since these issues are deep rooted, not it is happening quite abruptly, or it is not happening all of a sudden, right? So these are deep rooted social issues, right? So it is not it has not started all of a sudden, and therefore, if we try to link those histories, those roots, to understand the present narratives, then we definitely think that strong political will is only a necessary tool. This is going. This should only be the necessary, prerequisite that would definitely, right, lead us to, right, redress these particular issues. Otherwise, without strong political will, this is not going to be resolved. Because whatever the politics that has been happening over the period of time, right? Vested groups, vested in parties definitely would try their best to draw benefits out of it. They have been doing it for a long period of time, but it is ultimately the governments, right, or the communities, the civil societies, if all come to a particular conclusion that we have to look at, right, we have to look to the future, not to the past. Definitely, right, we feel that these issues are going to be addressed. Yes, again, I'm reiterating my take that some compromise needs to be done. Pragmatism must be in place, right? Otherwise, what would happen is that if we stick to our own position, right, nothing is going to happen. Okay.
I think, let's see any query. If anyone have, please. Okay, then we move to the last session. May I request Mr. Ankur Soikia to offer the vote of thanks on behalf of the Department of Political Science, Kaliabor College.
Thank you, sir. Uh, a very good, very warm good afternoon to each and one present. On the behalf of the entire fraternity of Kaliabor College, I, Ankur Saikya, would like to take the opportunity to propose the vote of thanks to everyone who has contributed for the successful conduction of today's program. I extend my heartfelt thanks and sincere gratitude to our respected resource person, Dr. Deputy Dr. Sir, for not only sharing his valuable time and also sharing his enlightening words and enlightening thoughts with our students. I'm very much sure that our students uh, will be benefited from today's speech. It was very nice to hear you after so many times, sir. And next, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our respected principal, sir, Dr. Uttam Kumar Borua, sir, for giving us the opportunity to organize the event. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Birendra Pal, librarian and joint coordinator, IQAC Kaliabor College, for gracing the occasion with his presence and providing us all the vital technical support for the event. My sincere gratitude to all the respected colleagues for their active support and participation in today's event and making the event a very successful one. And last but not least, I extend my heartfelt vote of thanks to our dear students for their active participation and cooperation. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Over to Birendra Pal, sir.
Thank you.
Birendra, are you listening?
Yes, yes. I think, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So thank you, Mr. Ankur Sekia, Assistant Professor, Department of Political Science, Kaliabor College, for offering the vote of thanks. And almost we are coming to the end of the program. And before end of the program, I'd like to request all the participants, dear participants, please switch on your camera and come closer to the screen. Dear participants, apnalogar camera to on kori pelai alop screen or shot ahilok. We will take a screenshot together. We'll take the moment. The participants, please switch on your camera. One, two. Hello, sir. Penaki Vaido. Isha Sawan, Priti, Durmi, please switch on your camera. Just 1 second. Thank you, everyone, for your wonderful support, for your kind listening to the program. And I'd like to also thanks to the listeners who are right now who are listening to us in the YouTube platform also. This program is live stream in the YouTube live. So I'd like to thanks to all the participants right now who are hearing us to the YouTube platform as well. So thank you very much. Have a nice time ahead. Again, thanks to Dr. Debojyoti Datta sir for giving his valuable time for this program. Again, over to you. Thank you very much. As a technical host, I declare this program as end. Thank you very much.